Jeff Eleveld has started recording, it says.
Okay, our movie of the month
was Suddenly last summer.
No.
Suddenly last summer.
I enjoy
it was in English, thank goodness. What did you think of it?
Lots of different things. I liked it and I didn't like it at the same time.
Yeah, there's good and bad about it.
Loved Elizabeth Taylor, man, she's so hot.
There was a reason she was, and so did you remember she was also in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, which we did June of 2023.
We did Cat on a Hot Tin Roof?
We did. So
if I've ever seen that movie, I would have said no.
I don't remember it either. So I went back and it's like, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So and it's funny because when I do the blog, I'll do the picture of the movie poster. She's sitting there in a bathing suit, the incredible disappearing bathing suit she was describing in the Cat in a Hot Tin Roof. She's sitting in the same bathing suit. Yeah. It's like, okay, that's weird. So I'll have to figure out which one was first and interesting. But yeah, there was some things that I really liked about it, and other things. It's based on a Tennessee Williams play, and it starred Elizabeth Taylor and Katharine Hepburn and Montgomery Clift.
Because of him, we saw him in 2 previous movies.
Yes,
and he was different in each one, but I see the consistency in this one, where you get to get his acting sort of schemed out. Like Columbo had a certain thing, and there was just something about him that was sort of similar. And now Stacy had watched this because she said, "What movie are you going to pick this month?" So I said to her, "I think I'm going to pick this one." She goes, "Oh, I'll watch it."
She should be our guest host.
No, we should have her on for maybe start that in.
Yeah, you should do that on me, as I had Jennifer try and get on, and then next.
She's in Ontario. I'm in Fredericton. I doubt she'll be walking by.
No, but you could have her going, "Oh, who's here? Someone's trying to get in." Anita.
Just do this with you and call you up and pretend she's me. Just go, "Oh, Anita, great, we'll do it." Not give any indication that something weird is going on.
Yeah, well, we could, but okay. So, I never really know how to describe this movie in a lot of ways. It's because it talks about a lobotomy that. Now is the medical stuff is way old, and we've learned so much, and it's basically.
But I suggest we haven't.
Have a lobotomy?
No, we haven't learned so much because there was a direct link to pharmaceuticals in this when they were essentially. His boss was going to get a new hospital built.
Yep.
And as long as they did bad medical practice.
Yeah, for an old woman who's very wealthy who wanted her niece lobotomized because she thought she knew she had a secret about her the older woman's son's death.
Not that she thought she had a secret, but it would allow her to not have her own issue. Because she was the one, when you realize, has gone crazy.
Yes, yes.
You change it. You go, "Oh, she's the crazy one."
Yeah.
She was going to get her niece lobotomized so she wouldn't go crazier than she already did.
Right. So yeah, there were underlying parts of this movie that I kind of I didn't get and know until the end, and it's kind of oh, okay, they did it that way. Sure. So yeah, I need to.
Her son, Katharine Hepburn, and her son, who is never really pictured in the movie.
No, just his back and his legs and his
But did they have an inappropriate relationship?
Absolutely.
You really think like inappropriate, like they had sex?
Not necessarily, but it was definitely inappropriate. She thought way too much of her son, and she was basically pimping herself to get boys for him. But I didn't know that until the end. I thought they were getting girls for him until you get towards the end and you go, oh, okay.
I sort of figured that because they kept saying people and persons and
yeah,
and that a son having that kind of relationship with his mom would be somebody who's sort of gay. You know what I mean? Like it would sort of fall into place that when you're that close with your mom and your mom is that close with you, that there's something freaky going on.
Well, so Violet, the mom, she was in, they would go on vacation.
Violet's the mom of
the mother
of Elizabeth Taylor.
No, Violet is the aunt. Yeah. So Violet Venable has a son.
Venerable too. Venerable.
Yeah, I know. So she has a son named Sebastian who died the summer before, and
it's called Suddenly Last Summer.
Yeah. So it appears that she doesn't really know all the information because her niece who was with him is gone kind of wacky and she's saying crazy things. So of course she must be insane now and she doesn't really know all the things that happened. So she's trying to get the state asylum called Lion's View. She'll give them money if they will just lobotomize this crazy woman who's acting out and clearly schizophrenic and all that stuff. So yeah, it's interesting using the words like schizophrenic withdrawal, which means something now different in a lot of ways. And then you meet Elizabeth Taylor and realize that she's really not that crazy. She's very upset. And then when she finds out that she's going to have her brain operated on, it's like she's even more crazy, which she should be. But yeah, the Violet was the crazy woman. So she didn't go with her son that summer because she had a stroke the time before, and she was no longer able to procure the boys for her son.
Right.
That's the thing. But I never really got that until kind of the very end. Again, it all kind of fell into place. But I also didn't think they did a very clear job of that. But apparently,
the thing is if you're procuring boys, you're attracting them because you're an attractive woman.
Yeah.
They're gonna want the women, not the men. Like how do you think that, oh, you've attracted all these
boys
and boys to your group, and now they go, oh, I'll rather be gay with him. Like,
yeah,
weird.
It didn't make any sense. So in that way, and also like apparently, I don't know where you kind of have to go through the whole thing, but in the end, the boys that were being procured for him all kind of turned on him and they killed him, and then cannibalism comes up and it's like, okay, that's weird. But so yeah, I don't know. There's part of it
that because there was a lot of religion, God stuff.
Yeah.
He saw the hand of God and God talked to him
with the turtles.
Yeah, and the turtles were eating flesh. He kept saying eating flesh with the turtles, and that foreshadowed him having that same kind of. I don't know that they ate him. They may have bit him, or I don't know that it was I want to eat his flesh.
It was cannibalism. They said it. They said he was eaten.
I don't remember that being
like. I mean, they weren't roasting his bones over the thing, but also like they had all these kids were chasing him, right? And it was this frenetic scene as she's reliving with the truth serum what happened. But it's like, did he actually? All of those boys, like 100 boys, how long was he there? What did he do to them? Like, it didn't make any sense that way to me. But and one of the street urchins was played by Eddie Fisher.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. That's what it said in the cast notes. And it's like Eddie Fisher, who didn't Elizabeth Taylor take him away from Debbie Reynolds?
Yeah.
So there's another whole story there. But like, so the gay issue is funny because Montgomery Clift was a gay man, and he's playing the guy, and he's not the gay man in the movie, but Sebastian was the gay man, and the playwright was a gay man, and the guy who wrote the book was a gay man. So they had a chance to, talk about the gay issue and bring it, to light, have a conversation about it, and do it,
not it to be hidden and scary.
Yeah, it's like you have gay people working on this, so let's do it.
It's scary in an even worse way.
Well, the standards at the time would not allow them to use the word homosexual. And they said that the only reason, like in some of the review things, they said the only reason that he was allowed to do that is because the bad gay man met a bad end. He wasn't allowed to, get married and have a wonderful life, because you had to show how terrible the gay life and situation was back in the 1959 when they did this. But it was at the helm of gay people. You think that they would have.
But were they all out at that time? Was Montgomery Clift out, or did
no? Probably not.
They didn't find that out till
no. But apparently, the director treated Montgomery Clift so badly during the shooting of this that Katharine Hepburn was furious with him. And so when Katharine Hepburn did her last scene, she's finished with it. You have everything you need. Yes, I'm done. Yes, she spit in the director's face for treating Montgomery Clift so badly.
Wow.
So that was interesting. And Elizabeth Taylor knew Montgomery Clift. He had had a bad accident after a party at her house, and she'd saved his life because he was dying. He had this terrible accident. So quite often his movies are before accident and after accident. And he essentially had, they said, the longest suicide in Hollywood, because he just was in such pain after his accident and so on. So
this movie was after the accident.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, you could see him moving in a very. That's actually what Stacy said about the movie, was he seemed to mail it in. His acting in this one just wasn't and yet I liked his acting in this one.
There's something about it, yeah.
Yeah, there was something appealing about how he was, and especially when Elizabeth Taylor kissed him the first time, and then she apologized, and instead of him freaking out because of what happened with that other guy,
yeah,
you think that if she kisses him, she could then say, "Oh no, you raped me."
Yeah.
The other guy supposedly had happened, and she does it to him. And if she's a little bit crazy, she could turn around and go, "Oh my goodness, you did that to me."
Yeah.
And he didn't. He was calm. He said, "That was nice. There's nothing wrong with what you did." And I don't know that I liked his his calm casualness, because it actually brought out him being able to question that she's crazy or not. And he kept questioning it.
Yeah. So
I could have come up with a better way of exploding it than the way that it happened.
So in some ways, this story is about a young doctor who they need money for his hospital. And so do you bow to what the wealthy benefactor says? And that's how you're going to get your hospital built if you do this. And it's so as he gets to know Katharine, and it unravels that she's not the crazy person, alone, that is part of this. That's part of her mother and brother in the story.
Froze for a second there.
Yeah, has the mother and brother in the story too. Her mother and her brother, and then they can settle for money, and then they'll be safe for the rest of their life and all good. If you just, and then it's so that the part of what wealth can do for people is,
the whole pharmaceutical thing happened right in front, which was, if you sell your soul to the devil, you'll get all the money you want. And the lobotomy was the COVID vaccine. You know what I mean? It sounds like a good idea. We don't know any other better idea. Everybody agrees that at least it's something. And she got from hysterical to a mind-numbed individual, which I think is a lot better, is their thought process. and like those words almost rang true with COVID, and you can't give it to anybody, and you'll
Yeah.
feel better, and you'll help everybody else. And it was that same kind of story. Now I thought that what's his name, Montgomery Cliff, was the son of Hochstetter.
Yeah, I thought so too, and then I couldn't tell. So
well, I don't think he was. Well, Hochstetter and Kirkowitz,
yeah, are two different things.
yeah, so, but you know why you thought he was the father?
Why?
Because at the beginning, when he first sees him and he comes in and said, "I'm mad because my operation almost went
Yeah.
He goes, now son, put that in perspective." He called him son, but he meant it as a term.
That's what people would say all the time, and then sometimes he's, "I'm not your son."
We took that. I was trying to figure out how come.
Why do I think that? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The one quote I liked is, "A sharp knife in the mind kills the devil in the soul." Like that was the for the lobotomy. That was the quote that they used to, like, this was going to help them because they're tortured minds. And the scenes in the asylum were a little over the top, but not probably not that far off.
I mean, the women looked better situated than the men. The men looked pretty
spaced out and
belligerent and ready to jump all over her and pull her down, and whereas the women just all watched her, and like there were even some well-dressed women in there, and they're knitting, and the worst one is making noise on a rocking.
Yeah.
That's the worst crazy woman you've got.
Yeah. I think I know why I thought that they were trying to get women for him. It's because Catherine had said blondes were next on the menu. He was tired of the dark ones. And I thought, like, she was dark haired. And so referring to blondes, I assumed that was talking about females.
Yeah. I don't know how I would, because I remember saying that too. And I remember questioning whether it was a man at that time. But I don't know. I still don't get how attracting men to you as a couple, you're supposed to look like a couple with him, and then he come flooding in, and then he gets to bed, some of them.
Yeah.
Some that don't. And
she has to be a beautiful woman. Like, and so his mother no longer qualified as that. She went out for years doing this for him every year.
Yeah.
And then she's had a stroke and now can no longer do it. It was great with the elevator that came down and then went up.
So there's a thing in a series of movies that came out in the, now I can remember it. So Stacy sent me something, and it was there's a little voodoo doll, and like an African figure, yeah, with a paint on his face, a spear kind of thing, and it was in this movie. And then I recalled that there was a Amy Sedaris At Home with Amy Sedaris episode with the same little doll doing the same thing, coming out and killing you, and you're going, it's killing me. And so she said that's from a horror movie that she used to watch. So I found the horror movie and I put it up. But the reason I sort of picked this movie, and I mean, I certainly like Montgomery Cliff in it, but I saw the scene where she's coming down the elevator really, really slowly. Mm-hmm. And in the third series episode 4 or something called First Date, Amy Sedaris gets an elevator installed in her show, and it's moving really slow. And I'm going, oh, that's a nod to this.
Yeah.
Because she's also crazy, and the way she is in her show, like I'm pretty sure it was a nod to her, because it was the same kind of overly slow, like she'd be standing there.
Yeah. Well, there was an awful lot of dialogue in this movie. Sometimes they just stood and talked, then walked around a little bit and stood and talked like that. It didn't feel like there was any action to it. to move it forward. But they created a lot of tension with, okay, the lobotomy is on the chopping block. Is she going to get it or not? And is he going to find out in time? And at first we didn't even really know, and same with, I didn't really get just before the end when she got the truth serum, so that she could remember all these things. Like, it was so foggy. It's like, well, she could have been delusional about that too. I kind of didn't
look at it too accurate of a brain dump.
Yeah.
Like precisely. Oh, well, now she's telling the perfect truth.
Yeah.
Everything would get hindered in that.
Yeah.
Was Catherine Hepburn's Mrs. Venable.
Yeah.
What a great name, Venable, because it's so hard to remember it, and it's just Venable.
Yeah.
So we know that she was the crazy one, but was that because she didn't want to admit to the world that her son is gay? And if the story is anything other than gone away because the niece dies or lobotomized, and doesn't get to talk about it anymore, it's just her and her son, and whatever he did was whatever he did, but she gets to still have that wonderful close relationship with her son
in her head.
And not being used by her son to go get laid and doing the bad thing in this world, which is
yeah, probably. So that's likely part of it. But there's not enough revelation to find out like how really crazy she is. Like we're catching on that she's the crazy one.
Well, the slow moving elevator was a perfect thought process of she's the crazy one.
Yeah,
she's sitting there so slowly. She's so calm and like this is normal and acceptable. This that I'm in.
Well, his name was Sebastian, her son, and he's the patron saint of gays. And that they had a big statue in his Eden garden thing that was the Saint Sebastian. So
was there? Because there's also an angel wings with a skull on it, and that was right behind them as they were chatting.
Yeah,
Cliff was chatting to Catherine Hepburn in the movie, and it was like really stark. Like, oh my goodness, look at this thing behind them, and why aren't they talking about it? Why isn't he asking, what's this? What's this?
Yeah,
and that came again when they were being chased. When he was being chased around, he saw. Remember, he saw a person sitting there, and it was a person in a skull with wings, and then Elizabeth Taylor came running along and saw an old lady sitting there.
It's so same with when she was in the insane asylum, and she kept running away and ending up, oh, there's the men's part, no, there's the women's part. She kind of trapped and scared, and so there was enough kind of tension and action in there, but it didn't quite, I don't know. One of the other lines I liked, George, I think that was her brother, said, I won't steal. And then Violet said, on that subject, my lips are sealed. And it's like, well, that's a whole story there. Tell me about that, on that subject.
I mean, he's stealing from them in the whole fact that they want the $100,000 to have his
sister.
Put away.
And I didn't like when they did the injection, the truth serum. He didn't tie it off properly. He just kind of like, oh, go there, I gave you. And it's like, I don't think it works like that. I don't think it's intramuscular. It has to go in the vein. So I wasn't so when you know a little bit about psychiatry, you know that some of this stuff is like, well, that's not quite, but I mean, it was 59, so they did things differently.
But was it even earlier than 59 in its
set earlier, you mean? Yeah. Did they talk about the end of the war? I don't think so.
No.
It's funny because whenever they talk about a character in the 50s or 60s movies, when they say the man is sensitive, that was the code word for saying he's gay.
Right.
And it was like, okay, because otherwise you have to be like John Wayne and tough and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So Elizabeth Taylor had a something on her heart for gay men, like Rock Hudson and the AIDS.
Yeah.
She was the AIDS person to set up all the fundraising and things like that. So I'm impressed by she had kind thoughts for gay people before it was okay to have that. And so when you have someone with such high a celebrity being kind to people that, you know, your religion or your family history or whatever it is that says, okay, we can treat people badly. She was treating people kindly. And that was an example for the rest of America to learn how to start treating people with kindness. And I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah,
She did.
I agree. Even her with Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was
Yeah.
not even know if he's gay, but he certainly had a weirdness
Something, yeah.
about him, and she accepted him for that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she seemed to be quite the class. She was pretty much the same age as our dad, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Can't remember exactly, but pretty darn close.
Let's see. Yeah, February 27th, 1932.
Yeah.
There you go.
He was born the next day or the day after, whatever it was. So I remember seeing her all done up with makeup and stuff like that during, I think, when she was married to, like, can't remember the name of the guy, not Fortensky, before that. And it's like, boy, she's a hot tamale. My dad's nothing like this, but he doesn't have makeup and all that stuff. But she had a difficult life, husbands and
Carrie
her
Fisher.
health. Yeah.
So Carrie Fisher, she died a few years ago. She was like had a lot of depression and a lot of drugs and stuff. And she had Postcards from the Edge, I think, was written by her.
Mm-hmm.
And that was done into a movie. And she was being interviewed one time, and it was the funniest line she had. She was talking about her and her mom, Debbie Reynolds, and Eddie Fisher were together. Yeah. And then Elizabeth Taylor's husband died in a plane crash.
Yeah.
And then Eddie Fisher, this is how she's Carrie Fisher saying it. And she goes, and then my father, Eddie Fisher, went and consoled Elizabeth Taylor with his penis.
Yes.
That's what she says. It's so funny.
Yeah, he was a nice man. He was consoling her.
That's right.
But you add the part, it's like, okay, clearly she wasn't happy with that. But so what I like about Elizabeth Taylor, one of her best pieces of acting is when she was on the Flintstones. She played, I can't remember who Mother Hoople or whatever, Wilma Flintstone's mother. And there's John Goodman said something, and she just squinted her eyes in a certain way, and it was just perfection. It was like, oh, she did it without. It was the perfect thing to do. Right. And you don't often see something because she rolled her eyes at him without rolling her eyes.
Yeah.
So she was really good with that. So yeah, it was a good movie. I didn't think it was great, but now I want to go back and watch Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, because apparently that's supposed to be that's Tennessee Williams also, and that's a gay story. And it's like, I don't even remember if it was a gay story. I have no clue. I have no recollection of it, Jeff.
Oh no, I do. Yeah, you'll as soon as and
I know a
football player drinks his days away. Having failed to come to terms with his sexuality and his real feelings, the football buddy who died in an ambiguous accident.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, sure. I remember it. And then the whole family, but basement and the
right, but the gay thing was very under the radar.
I don't even know. Maybe that we talked. Was he gay? I don't even know if
we'll have to go back and watch our review,
because might not have said he's gay.
Right.
I think you and I may have said that was a bit inappropriate with his friend. I know we must have questioned it.
Yeah. Well, it would. I'm sure in reading it, I would have. But it's amazing how it was 2023.
I know. When you said that, now I remember, but I was totally forgotten, because when I hear Cat in a Hot Tin Roof, my brain thinks of Fiddler on the Roof.
Yes.
I've never seen Fiddler on the Roof.
Yes, it's not the same.
I imagine they're the same kind of thing.
Yeah. And I put all of those movies in a bit of the same category. The Glass Menagerie, I think, is also another one. So, and I Yeah.
I think I liked it a lot more than I maybe wanted to. I don't know. There's something I like Montgomery Clift. I don't know that I liked what's her name?
Katharine Hepburn.
Yeah, I don't know that I liked her so much in that.
I like almost everything she does though, and she's playing a pretty despicable person.
Right, and in the end, I guess, yeah, when you realize who she is in the end, you realize that acting in the beginning was good.
Yeah,
Didn't seem good, but then when you learn that she spat in the director's face
after she finished her work, I have all the lines. You don't need me anymore, right? Yeah, that's pretty epic. So. Yeah, so apparently the director treated Montgomery Clift so badly. But I mean, part of it too is like he had problems with drugs and alcohol or whatever it was that made him, not responsible and doing stuff like that, I guess. I'm assuming, because why would you hire someone who you don't want to work with? So
yeah. I like Montgomery Clift, and I really like him now as an actor, and I think I want to watch more of his movies.
Yeah, no, he was in The Judgment of Nuremberg, right?
Yeah, and he was in the Dragons, Devils, the war one. Remember when
The Longest Day? The Longest Day?
No.
No. You made us watch a lot of war ones. The Longest Day, Sons of
Young
Katie,
Lions.
The Long Lions, yeah.
Young Lions, yeah. And I quite liked him in. Actually, I like Marlon Brando in The Young Lions. Man, the Young Lions was such a good movie.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
Yeah. Looking back, I'm really liking that I'm picking some older movies. I'm really totally love that I sat there and saw the pharmaceutical industry and the lobotomy industry as the same thing.
Yeah,
like absolutely could be good, but is generally not good. Like, in other words, they thought they were doing good. So and I think in some cases that brought things forward, just like bloodletting sometimes solved the problem.
Shock.
Most of them killed the person, but like they were going to die anyways. And and then when you see, I remember when this all first happened, and somebody had said, it's funny how we trust the pharmaceutical industries when it's the least trustable out there. And I went, yeah. And I started questioning it then. So it was really early on when the COVID vaccine came out. My mind started going, oh, maybe we should question it. Why do we just believe this group that we normally hate and think is terribly,
And we were fighting, please put me, I want the vaccine first. What do you mean old people get it first? That's just wrong. I'm essential worker. I should get, people were saying that so strongly. And it's like, I don't know that we were, you can't travel unless you've had it. And there's just so much of it that was like, wow, that wasn't handled very well. But then again, to be fair, the whole world wasn't handling it very well. But
I mean, even the silly things like stay in your house and don't even go outside, which is a little bit counter even intuitive.
Yeah.
Don't go, if you're caught walking your dog, you're in trouble.
In a park with no one, a lady got fined. She's on the golf course. No one's allowed to play golf. So she's walking her dog and she got fined. Yeah. Just odd. So Violet had a hysterical stroke. What's the difference between that and what's a hysterical and schizophrenic withdrawal? And then there was the other one, dementia something.
Yeah, like dementia.
Dementia praecox. That means you're mad. And dementia is a whole different thing now.
Yeah, dementia is older people.
And the memory and stuff. So it's like
lack of what in your brain? Lack of cholesterol in your brain.
Is it?
Yeah. That's what dementia is, yeah.
So it's interesting how they were talking about it at least, and so Martin's mom suffered from bipolar, manic depression it was called at the time, but when I first knew them, they didn't even have those words. So she had spent some time in a place where she had the shock treatments and things like that, and medications that they tried. And I don't know, I consider them like they were guinea pigs for trying to treat people. And I feel it feels kind of heroic that, they were part of the drugs that they're using now to help people were vetted by people who were having this done in the 50s and 60s. And yeah, there's a sense of not honorable isn't the right word, but yeah, they went through a lot.
I mean, throughout all history, that's all they ever did was test things on people. Like,
yeah, experiments.
Like we were not sure what this is going to be. That's why witchcraft was part of it. And
yeah, and
like they did everything they could to solve problems.
How do you solve a problem like Anita? That's what Martin sings. It's supposed to be Maria from Sound of Music, but okay. So that was a good movie.
Yeah, and I
in a lot of ways.
More than I didn't. Then the things that I didn't like, I think if I watched it again, I would start to undo some of those things. I think it was a very good movie.
Yeah, and life is a trail of debris. Life is a trail of debris. So there were some interesting things in there.
I still don't know why they killed him. Like,
well, because he was doing things to them, but like all of them, all the kids who were chasing him, all 100 that were chasing him.
I mean, I get it that somebody realized he was gay and he may have slept with or raped or whatever some boys down, and now they come out as a crowd to go get him.
Right, but they're going to be stopped by a girl in a bikini that's see-through.
Right. That's the thing is, why wouldn't you be going after her if you hate gays enough to want to kill them?
Yeah,
you probably are liking the women, and you wouldn't just ignore them in your quest to.
Yeah, I didn't quite get he put her into a see-through bathing suit to attract the boys. I don't know. I kind of didn't get that. I think it was just an excuse for the director to put her in a bathing suit because she's Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah, probably.
Because we also saw Cleopatra
was
Elizabeth Taylor.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like Elizabeth Taylor.
So we'll see what next month brings and what the connection is. That'll be interesting.
Yes. I got a few things I can connect.
Yeah. Eddie Fisher, who played a street urchin. Like half of you probably didn't even see him, but they thought it was important to list that he was in the cast.
Yeah.
So
okay.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, Stacy, because we're convinced that you're the only one who's gotten to this part. Pretty sure.
I know that's the fact. But we do need to. I do need to get her on once or more in the year, and we just get the three of us to be doing it and talking about it. Yes. That would be fun.
That would be lovely.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Be good.
Last time we said goodbye for half an hour.
Well, I almost did the same thing and hang up the thing to stop it.
Stop recording.
I know. The manager.
Yeah.
And stop. Okay. Bye, y'all.
Bye.